New Hampshire Motor Speedway. It's a track that, well, only hosted really one race in the Verizon IndyCar Series, what was then known as the IZOD IndyCar Series era. That was back in 2011. Yes, they ran there previously, back in the late 1990s, but it was 2011 that really was that year that everyone will remember. Two middle fingers, a restart and a rain, Danica Patrick spinning it around, and, well, we all love our good friend, Mr. Brian Barnhart. But that's not going to happen tonight. This is a classic IndyCar series. We go sim racing in the first of a treble header. You're watching RaceSpotTV, you're watching iRacing Live, and we will start next.
Watch Ernie, go, go, go. Car right, car right, car right, car right. Yeah, watch him, watch him, watch him. Jam it! Oh! Get ready. Dude, more heads up than that. Jeez!
Right on the back wing. Can he make it happen?
Yes! Yes! Push like hell. We gotta stay in front of these guys.
Drivers on the push to pass. Contact in the pit lane.
All right, 60. Let that eagle fly. What do I do? What happened? Push here. Push hard. Let's go get this guy. Car outside. We're behind you. Toe. Clear outside. Good job. Just spun behind you. I don't know if you got him or not.
He got out of it so hard. Look at these guys are all over the back.
Full throttle.
IndyCar. The in and out lap. What's next?
Come and get the checkers, big boy. Oh, baby, that was good. Hit me. Inside, outside, outside.
2017 Verizon IndyCar Series. See what's next.
Welcome to New Hampshire Motor Speedway for this, the 8th round of the Classic IndyCar Series here on RaceSpotTV, streaming live and iRacing Live, presented by Logical Innovative Engineering. This is the Classic IndyCar Series. Wolverton along with Jack Styles. Well, Jack, it is New Hampshire Motor Speedway. It's a hard track for these drivers here today, and they will be hoping to get some good green flag running in.
Yeah, definitely. This circuit is not very long, just over a mile long, and obviously we know it has history with the IndyCar Series. but we're maybe going to avoid those dramas today, as we're going to look like we're going to start the pacing lap. But New Hampshire, not very high banking, very, very low banking here, so it's definitely going to be hard to turn these cars in at high speed. Brakes shouldn't be needed, but we're going to need a lift of the throttle, so expect to see some people going in slightly slower than others.
Indeed so. Drivers are currently lined up, or lining up even, to get onto the starting grid for this evening's event. We can show that to you now. Robert Grosser there on pole position, 22.441. Lucas Laville alongside him on the front row of the grid. This is actually now Robert Grosser's 9th pole position in Classic IndyCar Series history. He's now 2 ahead of the driver of Mark Usher, who had 7 pole positions. Michele Constantini in 3rd place, Henry Bennett in P number 4. Cycle on back, you'll see Clayton Bommersbach in P5, Dave Liddell in 6th, Michael Gernicke in 7th, and Johnny Garrett in the 8th place. Carsten Bodaway in 9th, John Elsweimer in the 10th place, Ian Halser and Hans Pitkanen there in row number 6. There's a remainder of your qualifying times coming up on your screen as we speak. A couple of non-qualifiers there, 17 drivers did set a qualifying time, 23 drivers looking to potentially take the start of this event, Jack. I've got Jake. I've got Jake later. I've got Jack now.
Yeah, but we're going to see some people who haven't qualified. Andrew Aitken, Dale Stanley and Jonathan Diggs are going to be taking their positions at the back of this grid. Don't know why they didn't qualify. Maybe they're just hoping to force some bad luck from other drivers. So it's going to be interesting to see if they can work their way up the field. But Robert Grosser, Lucas Laville, Michele Constantini, Henry Bennett and Clayton Bommersbach, we know these guys are fast, so it's definitely going to be interesting to see these guys really fight it out over the next 225 laps.
Yes, indeed so. So then drivers are now all lined up. They are all getting ready to go on their one solitary parade lap around this racetrack. That is New Hampshire Motor Speedway. It's just actually a tiny bit over 1 mile in length. It hosts 2 rounds of the NASCAR Monster Energy Series. As we said, the last time we saw them running in IndyCar racing, that was back in 2011. So glad to be with you here this evening on RaceSpotTV. Not 1, not 2, but 3 races. I'll be with you over the course of today. Of course, after this webcast, we have got ourselves the Skip Barber 2K World Cup. We round things off with the Apex Invotech Indy Elite Series. That starts at 7 p.m. Eastern Time. But now we just cycle in over to number 1 machine. That is the driver of Robert Grosser. He will be the driver bringing the field to the green flag here today, as we'll be running for 225 laps. Today's coverage is brought to you by Joel Real Timing, the official timing and scoring partner of the Classic IndyCar Series, as well as Logical, who are the official title sponsor of the Classic IndyCar Series. More about them later on. Pace car on towards pit road. That means it's Robert Grosser gonna pick up the field. Green flag in the air for 225 laps of racing. Here we go through turn number 1 for the first time, through turn number 2 for the first time. Let's see, will they all make it through that first lap? It does look as though, for the time being, we are all okay there, Jack.
Yeah, definitely. Everyone's going to make a nice, clean start. Robert Grosser's got a good clutch on the front of the field. Lucas Laville currently sitting beside him. No positions changed in the top 6. A couple few further back, but at the moment, everyone in the field is just taking it nice and steady for these first 3 laps. Get them tyres up to temperature. Make sure they have the grip going into the corners.
Yeah, as you can check out live timing, just visit RaceSpot.tv/timing. That will be up and running for you in just 1 moment's time. And of course, you can get social with us here on RaceSpotTV as well. Details up on the screen in a moment's time. Having a look then, we had 22 drivers take the green flag for this event. Patrick Byrne did not start. Oh, we got trouble, car into the wall, caution out. And it's Clayton Bommersbach upside down on the exit of turn number 2. Looks to me that he lost that one initially all by himself. We're having a look on the replay. This is him through turn number 3 and 4 on the previous lap. Now, we're having a look, and this is Henry Bennett just ahead of him. Into turn number 1. Just pushes up towards the wall. Oh, he gets loose. Gets loose, spears it into the wall, goes upside down. Clayton Bommersbach then turn around. You had one other driver involved in that one as well. That is Sam Winton. We are just going to take a quick break here, ladies and gentlemen. We'll be back with more after these messages.
Watch Ernie, go, go, go. Car right, car right, car right, car right. Watch, car right. Watch, jam it. Get ready. Dude, more heads up than that. Jeez.
Right on the back wing. Can he make it happen?
Push like hell. We gotta stay in front of these guys.
Both drivers on the push to pass. Contact in the pit lane.
All right, sexy. Let that eagle fly. What do I do? What happened? Push here. Push hard. Let's go get this guy. Car outside. Room behind you. Tell. Clear outside. Good job. Just spun behind you. I don't know if you got him or not.
He got out of it so hard. Look at these guys are all over the back.
Full throttle.
IndyCar.
In and out lap.
What's next?
Come and get the checkers, big boy. Oh, baby, that was good. He hit me. Inside, outside.
2017 Verizon IndyCar Series. See what's next.
Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to RaceSpotTV, to iRacing Live, and to the classic IndyCar Series. There's your race leader. Right on board of him, that is the driver of Robert Grosser. Well, two drivers involved in that incident. They were Caton Bommersbach and Patrick Byrne. That's a sad one for Bommersbach. He's actually had a pretty good season this year here.
Yeah, he has, and he had a very good qualifying. He was up in 5th. We've seen him go quite well in previous rounds that we've broadcasted on RaceSpotTV. But to see him out so early, we were only on lap 4 of this event. So to see him going out so early in the race, that was very upsetting for him. I think he will be annoyed. But that car just got loose. Maybe the tyres went up to temperature. Maybe he just took a little bit too much speed. But everyone looks like they're getting into 2x2 formation, ready for the restart, Will.
Yeah, in fact, Bommersbach scored his personal best in the Classic IndyCar Series last time out at Mosport. And that was a 4th place finish. Of course, he crashed out from inside the top 5 here today. So, pace car then going to head itself on towards pit road. That means, once again, Robert Grosser will bring the field back to the green flag here at New Hampshire Motor Speedway. And here we go once again. Number 1 versus number 10 machine, side by side in toward turn number 1. And look at that, around the outside, Lucas Seville. What a restart there Lucas Seville has just had. He moves himself to the top of the timing sheets.
Yeah, brilliant move there by Lucas, just to do it on the outside after a restart. That's very, very good driving from him. So that number 10 car up into the lead of this race. Obviously, we're still very early on, 217 laps still to go. But Lucas Seville currently leading this event. Everyone else just trying. We're still seeing 2-3 wide coming through 1 and 2 here, further down your field. So everyone's just trying to find that rhythm after the restart and just try and avoid accidents, to avoid having lots of caution periods like the one we've just seen.
You know what? I think for Seville, it's the case of he either would have got that race lead or he would have thrown his race away. He was flat out all the way through that first couple of corners, which is a ballsy move to do. But he knew that his tyres already had one heat cycle through them, and he was able to work that to his advantage. From Elmswammer right now, he's trying to battle it out with Michael Gernicke. You've got yourself 5 drivers in your top pack right now. Then you've got yourself your second gang of drivers, which has the majority of your field. But there is a top 5 breakaway. Johnny Garrett is that driver right now, running in P number 5. He's chasing down Henry Bennett for 4th place as we speak.
Yeah, definitely. And Johnny Garrett as well. He's up 3 places from where he started, and we've got caution.
Yeah, and that is Jonathan Diggs. Just saw him falling down the timing screens. Was going to see whether or not that was a caution. Indeed it was. But the number 99 Herbalife car then into turn number 3 and 4, goes down to the inside of the number 38 machine. That all seems to be okay. And then in towards turn number 1 and 2, where the incident happened, takes the inside line, and he just loses it. And one of the things worth talking about here, Jack, is the banking. And it's very difficult for a lot of people to understand the way banking here works, because you have a number of different types of banking. You've got your standard banking, which is basically, let's take Texas Motor Speedway. In the olden days, it was 24 degrees of banking all the way up. For example, Charlotte, it still is. Then you've got your parabolic banking, which is what Homestead Miami Speedway has. 18 degrees at the bottom. The banking kind of increases as you go up to the top of the track. So it's 18 degrees at the bottom, 20 degrees at the top. Here, it's a lot different. The banking increases in each of the lanes. So it's actually stepped banking. So what you need to make sure you do is actually have your car solidly in one lane the entire time. Otherwise, the way the wicker of the car works and the banking won't work on track.
No, definitely. And I mean, as you said here, the banking increases as you go through the lane. So if you get 2 wheels on the lower and 2 wheels on the upper, your car is essentially unstable on the circuit. So you're going to get some imbalance there, and I think that's what Jonathan Diggs just had in that number 99 machine. And you just saw him being spat out. And I wonder whether Caton Bomberbatch had the same problem, because it just looks like the car got unstable coming through the corner, and he could not maintain the steering that he needed to actually get him through turn number 2.
Yeah, as we had a couple of drivers pit that time by Dale Stanley and Marco in the number 7 machine, Marco Barbanera there, and he's kind of pit stop. He's down at the rear of the field as you speak. And if you're actually down at the rear of the field, not a bad thing to do to top up with gas, because yes, it might only be 12 laps, but 12 laps can help you later on in this event.
Yeah, definitely, and that could just mean a break in strategy. And because of the length of this event, we might not see it go to the full distance. We might see it hit the 2-hour time limit that we have in this series. So actually, that strategy call could play into their hands by that they don't have to make an extra pit stop towards the end of the race, whereas everyone will. So they might be able to gain a few positions back from there.
Yeah, completely agree there. As we're just having a look, and just now, lights are still on top of the iRacing pace car. As you'll just see that working themselves now on that number 13 of this event here today. And I will say, actually, what this track is so difficult, especially in qualifying, and I can say that I think I've got one of the top 10 laps ever turned around this racetrack in what was the flukiest qualifying I've ever done in my life. However, this track is so complicated to try and understand because of that banking. And in qualifying, it's almost a case of you being flat out. Now, in terms of the race, it is lifting, it is coasting, and actually, it is very difficult to overtake here because of that dirty air, Jack.
Yeah, and I mean, you aren't going to see much room here as well. It's not a very wide track, so there's not a lot of places that you can really get out of that dirty air, as we see everyone starting to line up 2x2 ready for the restart. But getting out of that dirty air is going to be hard here because there is so many cars. And I think actually, as I think Caton Bomberbatch maybe had also, that could be contribute to why his accident is getting out of clean air would unsettle the car, and getting into dirty air and just changing what air you're in, changing the airflow over the car, you could have a different airflow over different parts of the car. So actually, that's going to really unsettle the downforce on these cars. And as you said, Will, they are going to have to lift in the race because of the extra fuel load. But in qualifying, I would expect these cars to be absolutely on the edge, and very much so that the drivers are almost struggling to keep them out of the wall.
Now, the last time by, Lucas Will went around the outside of Robert Grosser. Laville leads the championship right now, 50 points ahead of Robert Grosser. So this is top 2 drivers in the championship fighting it out for your race lead. Green flag in the air, and look at Grosser. He's done it. He's done the return. He goes around the outside, and Laville actually is sluggish on that restart because Michel Constantini actually almost had a chance to make the move down into turn number 3 and 4. Didn't happen behind, a little bit too wide, very close racing there between Michael Gerlicher and Randy Shoemaker as they exit themselves now out of corner number 4 to complete lap number 15 in this event. But well, the racing is hard paced, but drivers will do that in their first couple of laps because they know that is pretty much the only time you can make up a lot of positions.
Yeah, definitely, and having these restarts is going to be important to these drivers because for them, once you're up to speed, you've got to do a lot with these cars to be able to make a move, because there isn't, unlike we see on road courses, because there aren't any big braking zones, you can't just stick your nose down the inside. Instead, you have to work with the car, you have to work with the track, and you maybe even have to wait for the driver ahead to make a mistake.
Yeah, as we have a look then, side by side, number 82 machine of Johnny Garrett versus John Elmsheimer. That inside line, because of this step banking, didn't work there for Garrett, and now you've had Dave Liddell just breeze past him towards 1.
Yeah, and I mean, these guys are going to be changing positions like there's no tomorrow throughout the whole of this race till 207 laps to go. But Randy Shoemake at the moment, Randy Shoemake and Tim Miller at the moment are biggest movers, both up 8 positions on where they started. But Shoemake is currently in a big battle with Galicka in the number 57 car, Paul P5. He's currently holding that. Tim Miller just sneaking up to P6. So a bit further down your field, we are seeing positions changing quite a lot, Will, but up the front you've got a 4-car breakaway of Robert Grosser, Lucas Laville, Michel Constantini and Henry Bennett. 4 guys we know who are extremely quick in these cars, but further down people are just trying to get themselves into a position where they can just run clean laps and start saving.
We've got a spinner. Is this going to breed a caution? No. Okay, it's Sam Winton there in the number 14 machine, and he lost it down the exit of turn number 2. Here's a replay just there on the exit of corner number 2. He backs that car up, doesn't hit anything actually, and then what he should have really done is come into the escape road, because that would have allowed him to build up some speed before rejoining. But he's very lucky that we stay green there. Number 38 of Dave Stanley has just moved past him. So a spin, no caution, lap number 21 of 225. It is worth noting, by the way, ladies and gentlemen, that these races also have a 2-hour time limit. As we ride on board then, Lucas Laville has led laps here today, but lost it on the restart versus Robert Grosser. Let's go on board with him in towards turn number 1. And actually, there's a lot of strategy that can be played in this race as well. Not just the standard anti-roll bars, weight jackets that we talk about here, Jack, but also the fuel mixture. These guys have a little knob on their steering wheel that they can adjust, and they can use those mix settings when they're just stuck in traffic and there's no way for them to go past. Well, save some fuel.
Yeah, definitely, and I think what you'll probably find is Lucas Laville, he's not getting up to the back of Robert Grosser because actually he's turned down his fuel mixture. He's using less fuel. So if he lets the engine just use a little bit less... Oh, we've got a caution on the track.
Yeah, yellow again. Johnny Garrett involved. Replay. Number 82 machine. This is him in towards turn number 1. Loses the back end all by himself there, and well, just basically brings it up alongside the wall, hits that, and he is out of the race for the time being. 3rd caution of the day, and you would suspect that you might get 1 or 2 more takers on towards pit road this time.
Yeah, and just looking back at that incident that Garrett had in the 82, it just looks as though he was straddling 2 lanes, and yeah, obviously the banking will be different, so that would have unsettled the car. So I would be very surprised if that wasn't to do with the banking that we have here at this circuit, Will. But it definitely looked as though he hadn't got the car settled in the right lane. Maybe he should have just stayed a little bit higher just to keep that car nice and centered on the circuit and not have that issue that he has. But we are definitely seeing some cars onto pit lane now. Yeah,
we've got ourselves now a 2 type of strategy motion. This actually happened at Mosport a couple of weeks ago, and the same thing's happening again. You've got some drivers on towards pit road. Lucas Laville is on pit road. TM Hauser, Randy Shoemake have come down pit road, as well as Luigi Graffini, Dave Stanley, Marco Barberena, Tim Miller, Sam Whitten, Dave Liddell. Lucas Laville, the first one to come out then. He falls down 7 positions as a consequence because, of course, half your field have decided to stay out. We're going to pick that story back up in just 1 moment's time.
Racing, you wanted the best, you got them 4 abreast, often imitated, never duplicated, the greatest show on dirt, the World of Outlaws!
welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. So, split strategy here. This is where things get interesting. Grosser leads from Michele Constantini, Henry Bennett in third, Michael Gerlicke in fourth place. However, Lucas Seville and about 6 other drivers have all pitted there, Jack.
Yeah, and I think it would be interesting to see what happens now, because Lucas Seville would not have taken on as much fuel, so he would have a shorter pit stop than Robert Grosser will next time. But it also means he's got a fresh set of tyres, and a fresh set of tyres that haven't gone through a heat cycle. Unlike Robert Grosser's, who is now on his third, fourth heat cycle now with these cautions, as everyone's now lining up 2x2 once again for another restart. But Robert Grosser, we know, is fast off these restarts, but so is Lucas Seville, and I think Lucas Seville could make up a few positions sitting there currently in P number 12 to get back up towards the sharp end of this field before we see another caution.
Let's actually ride this restart on board then with your championship leader, Lucas Seville, give you some RaceSpotTV fan immersion. Well, we just saw a car there turned around. That was the driver of Evan Fitzgerald there. Out of corner number 2, the number 36 Indiana driver running. Well, he was down around the mid-pack, but then he just lost that car. Exit of turn 2. That does seem to be the danger zone here today, Jake, but we do stay green. And I will stop calling you Jake. I've got Jake in my brain because he's commentating with me in an hour and a half.
Yeah, don't worry about it, Will, but Evan Fitzgerald, we're just seeing him currently crawling back to the pit lane at not very high speeds, but we're going to stay green, we're going to carry on going. But Lucas Seville is really making a mark on the field at the moment. He's back up into 7th, he's gained quite a few positions. He's gained about 5 positions since this restart just a few laps ago. But Evan Fitzgerald, I think his day is over for him. Obviously, we do have a fast repair in this series, so you do get one chance to have a fully clean slate, brand new car, go out there and try again. But we're only on lap 33 of this motor race. We've still got 192 to go, but Lucas Seville still making his way up the field, trying to get past Andrew Aitken in that number 26 car, who is up from starting right at the back of this field, and Lucas Seville currently sits in P7.
Yeah, and Andrew Aitken in the number 26 Venom energy drink machine. Down to the inside. This is the second time in a row he's been down to the inside. And Seville, he just doesn't have the drive off the corners. That seems to be the issue for Lucas Seville here today. And he did gain up some positions there, actually, Jack, but he did also get boxed in on that restart, which cost him really the chance to hit while the fire was hot. Out front, though, Michele Constantini is now right behind Robert Grosser.
Yeah, definitely, and this lead battle is really holding up between Michele Constantini and Robert Grosser. Robert Grosser has held the lead for quite a long time here. The only really time he's lost it is when Lucas Seville went round the outside of him on a restart. But Michele Constantini, we know he's fast as well, so I think he'll just be sitting there for saving fuel at the moment in the 66 machine, but I would like to see him challenging towards the end of this race.
Yeah. Apparently, John Cena just tweeted a video. Thanks, John Cena. We'll see you at WWE Super Slam. $9.99 WWE Network. Hey WWE, you just got yourself a free promo on RaceSpotTV as Laville back down to the inside of Andrew Aitken. Yellow.
We got a caution.
TM Hauser. And that's a tough one there. TM Hauser, of course, well known. He tags the driver in towards turn number 1. And then after that, loses the back end on the exit of turn number 2. We need to replay that one and try and see who it was who he hit as they come towards stop. It was number 77 machine there, Jack, who he hit coming in towards turn number 1. I'm just trying to see if we can get, there we are, a picture of Luigi Graffini rubbing along the wall for a moment. Got some rear wing damage, maybe some suspension damage as a consequence.
Yeah, and I think we'll see Graffini's got some damage on that number 77 machine from that tap from TM Hauser. But Hauser just looks as though maybe got the power down too early, lost the rear end into the wall, and that car is
didn't
toast.
Actually hit the wall on that replay, just worth noting.
No, he hit the wall a bit further round.
Did he? Oh, on turn 3 and 4?
No, coming out of turn 2.
I don't think he did.
Yeah, he did. He did on the inside.
Let's have a look. No, Graffini didn't.
Hauser did.
Yeah, Hauser did. Graffini certainly didn't on the exit of turn. And that's, I was actually going to say that. Graffini, we just got our drivers mixed up, shall we say. Graffini is in, by the way, as is Robert Grosser. No, Grosser hasn't come in. So Grosser, Constantini, Bennett, Elmsweiner, still haven't come towards pit road. First driver who has pitted here today is Lucas Laville in P number 5.
Yeah, and he's definitely used that to his advantage. He's back up to P5, and with this restart now, he's going to be up at the front end again, because he is going to be able to get onto the back of Henry Bennett and just pull away and get that draft from the cars ahead of him. So Lucas Laville, really, he's used strategy to his advantage, and he has really made it play here, Will.
Yep, whilst we're under caution then, here's a recap what happened the last time the Classic IndyCar Series happened. That was at Mosport a few weeks ago. 22 drivers on the grid, the shortest race in Classic IndyCar Series history. Robert Grosser got himself pole position, and the race, well, was influenced by strategies. All the drivers needed to make 2.5 stints, so the question was, when did they make that short half stint? Early on, Grosser took the lead, but lost it to Andreas Warner. Both these drivers stayed together throughout the entire first stint. Len Costello couldn't benefit from his personal best qualifying effort of 4th. He drops out of the race early. Championship leader Lucas Laville couldn't keep the pace at the beginning, making it a 2-horse race for the win. And Werner and Grosser pitted on the same lap. Warner short fuel to make his short stint, while Grosser did a full pit stop. Then, later on, Grosser was putting out a lead of almost 10 seconds till he had to pit again. That time he made his full service. Grosser then came into the lead, and then Grosser was just 1 second ahead of Werner, and then the gap was increasing for a while. And then with 2 laps to go, Werner spun out of the motor race while trying to follow Grosser, and that meant that P number 2 went to Lucas Laville, who is cruising 40 seconds behind the race leader. That means that Grosser took the win. That is only his second win in Classic IndyCar Series history, and his first win in almost 2 years after winning in Sonoma in 2015. Henry Bennett and Caton Bommersbach there. They were fighting for 3rd place until the last moment, and it actually was the better ending for Bennett. Bommersbach scored his personal best in 4th. Of course, he's out of the race early here today. Don't forget, later on RaceSpotTV, we've got ourselves Sunday Night Skippies. We don't yet know the track. We'll find out when we go live. And then also, we've got ourselves the Apex Invotech Indy Elite Series. Sunday night, it's single-seater open-wheel racing night. As Robert Grosser then brings the field back to the green flag. I've been talking too much. Jack, call this for me.
Yeah, we're going to go green here. Robert Grosser going to lead this field round to start once again on now lap 41, going to go on to lap 42. It's going to be interesting to see what Lucas Laville does in this number 10 car. Got my eye on him. He's down in P5, but he's got the draft of Henry Bennett, and we know Bennett is fast, so we've got the green flag. Robert Grosser is going to lead the field away here for another restart. He's going to take a good grasp on the lead. Michel Constantini just going to try and go round the outside in the number 66 machine, and he's done it. Michel Constantini is going to go to the lead. Robert Grosser is going to drop down to 2nd, and Lucas Laville is stayed in 5th, so Michel Constantini has inherited the lead, but Robert Grosser not going to give up. He's going to go down to the inside, looking down. Michel Constantini going to go high, but that number 66 machine, he's going to hold the lead for now.
third different leader of the day is Michele Constantini in that number 66 Shell V-Power machine. Look at this one though. Henry Bennett, John Elmsweimer, Lucas Laville. Laville couldn't make anything up on that restart. He still scored in 5th place. He's trying to go, oh my word, he's going up to the outside there. Going to take 1, now going to try and take 2 in towards turn number 1. Lucas Laville running it like it is this final ever race. Laville on the exit of turn number 2 will get himself the outside line. I love how the high line works sometimes at New Hampshire Weather Speedway. Laville is making it work, and he will be clear as they come off of turn number 4. Laville back into 3rd.
Yeah, and Randy Shoemake really coming up on the outside as well of John Elmsweimer. He's going to go up to 5th for a very brief period of time, but Elmsweimer going to take that back. But Laville, 2 cars in as many laps. That is brilliant driving from him and just using that high line to his advantage. Henry Bennett's now got a challenge, but it looks like we've had Elmsweimer in the wall.
Yeah, that is John Elmsweimer. He does carry on going, but he does brush the wall through turn number 3 and 4. So this is him coming out of turn number 2 then. We're running on board of him, goes to the outside of the number 41 machine of Henry Bennett, touches wheels with him, then 1 hit with the wall. Does he hit it again? No, he doesn't. But Elmsweimer, he hit it on square, so he might be okay. He still remains in 6th place for the time being.
Yeah, certainly, and I think that car will have a little bit of damage. Obviously, hitting the wall at 240 kilometers an hour isn't going to do any good to any car, so I think you'll have a little bit of aero damage on there, Will, so maybe you'll see his cornering speed's a little bit affected by that, but he doesn't seem to be slowing down. He seems to be able to stay on the back of Randy Shoemake in the 06 car, but Lucas Laville has pulled away from Henry Bennett. The gap now 7 tenths, and he is seriously pushing to catch up with Robert Grosser there in second, but Michele Constantini up at the front, he's holding that lead for now.
Behind Tim Miller, down to the inside of the driver of Niels Hundiges there. In towards turn 3 they come. Miller will take the inside line. Staying through the corner. The inside line doesn't seem to work here today. And this is what I love about New Hampshire. Sometimes that outside line is the preferred line. It does make life hard for drivers. But hey, we like it. Grosser versus Constantini, still in 2nd place is Robert Grosser now, as Lucas Laville is 1 second behind Robert Grosser. It is worth noting that Grosser is running faster right now than Lucas Laville.
I think that might just be down to a lower fuel load, Will. Robert Grosser will probably have probably a third less fuel, half less fuel than Lucas Laville. But Lucas Laville is going to be on the fresher tyres. They have gone through heat cycles, but not as many as Robert Grosser. Grosser's really getting close to the back now of Michele Constantini in the 66 up the front of the field as they cross the line to complete 50 laps of this race onto lap 51, 174 still to go. But Michele Constantini is now going to have a challenge from behind from Robert Grosser, and Lucas Laville just not being able to stay there with him.
Just to let you know, as far as laps go in this event, we did say it's a 2-hour race. What might happen is you may be in a situation where the time will expire before the race is complete. Now, if that does happen, we'll let you know immediately, ladies and gentlemen. We will have to go straight over to our coverage of the 2K World Cup. So we'll have to find a way of recording interviews for later on, because this is very, very tight in terms of time right now. And that actually can impact the strategy of drivers. If they know that they might be running a 200-lap race compared to a 225-lap race, then they'll just think the strategy a little bit different.
Yeah, definitely, and I think that's maybe what Lucas Laville did, is he may have seen that we were going to hit that, maybe could hit the 2-hour time limit. So I wonder whether we're going to see actually people going to change their strategy a bit. I think Michele Constantini and Robert Grosser are currently going for the 225-lap race, along with most of the field. But I think Lucas Laville is playing it differently. I think he's going to hit the 2-hour mark, and I think he's strategized this race for 2 hours.
On board with Carson Bodaway, he just moves himself past Pounds. Pitkanen, I say that. Again, the outside line works better then. The number 8 machine will stay in the 10th position for the time being. Retirees today. Dave Liddell. You've got yourself Johnny Garrett, Caton Bommersbach, and Patrick Byrne all out of this event. You've got a couple of drivers down laps. Here's one of them. It's a driver of Evan Fitzgerald, who we saw involved in an incident earlier on, as well as T.M. Hauser. He has scored 2 laps down. Jonathan Diggs is the last driver on the lead lap right now, but he's in P number 17. 17 drivers on the lead lap as we approach a 1/4 distance. Sam Winton versus Carson Bodway right now in towards turn number 1. They both go again. And well, I will say that Winton's not having a bad race right now. He just seems to not be able to make that good overtakes. To say that, he's down to the inside and might get, no, he won't get the position out the corner. In fact, you can see there that Winton's going to lose speed, and that's the thing. With a higher, running the higher lane, yes, it's longer around the racetrack, but you do, if you've got your car set up well, mean that you can actually get better acceleration out the corner.
Yeah, definitely. And I mean, we've seen Sam Winton, he's had a couple of spins already in this race. He's had 3 pit stops. So to be sitting in P12 and still on the lead lap, he's not doing too badly. But as going back to what you said, Will, sitting on that high line, it's got a slightly more banking, so you can carry just a little bit more speed, and that extra few kilometers an hour could be vital in getting the push off the corner that you need if you're defending or even attacking. But Carson Brodvey in the number 78 is now attacking. Pikanen in the number 8 is going to go down low. Pikanen's gone far too wide. We're going to go 3 wide coming out of turn number 4 here. Winton nearly up into the corner, but it looks like Pikanen just took a little bit more speed off that final corner, Will, and he is able to hold off Winton, but not Brodvey in the number 78.
Yeah, there's the 78 machine going past, and you can just see there the movers and shakers in your event so far. Biggest loser is Dave Liddell inside your top 20, of course. Kevin Bomber's back just lost more than that as well, as we now hit the 60 lap mark. And again, caution will play a big factor in many stages of this event. Pitting under green here isn't too hard coming on towards pit road. It's very hard though coming off of pit road here. And I would actually say what you want to do, if you're into a green flag pitting situation, be the last driver to come on towards pit road, because I guarantee one driver will spin coming on or off of pit road and cause a yellow flag.
Yeah, I would not be surprised to see that as well. Obviously, we know these Indy cars have got a lot of power. They're not going to be running as much downforce here as well, because we're at an oval and you want speed. So getting that power down slowly is going to be important. We've also got a flat circuit here on the inside at New Hampshire Motor Speedway, along with most ovals. So it's just going to be interesting to see what people do coming out of pit lane. We're going to see the people who really push it to the edge, really try not to spin the car while getting the most speed out, but we're also going to see the people who maybe take it a little bit more cautiously, don't lose as much time by doing that, as we just see people just maybe now settling into a groove. And Michele Constantini's still leading this race, but Lucas Laville has dropped 2.7 seconds back from Robert Grosser in second.
Yeah, and it does seem to be losing a tenth a lap at the moment. And actually, again, what you were talking about earlier on, the fact that we've got pit stops, a different pit strategy. It's lap number 63 now of the stint for Constantini Grosser. It's lap number 38 for the stint of Lucas Laville. Now, you would expect at some point this to come back into favour for Lucas Laville because he's got fresher tyres. But Grosser seems to be able to work in that kind of dirty air without too much of an incident. And again, what he's likely doing is using those in-car tools that we often talk about here on RaceSpotTV. They are located down the side of the cockpit. And what you've got is you've got a couple of levers right about here that are just circling on your screen. They control the weight tracker and the anti-roll bars. But also, what we were talking about earlier on is the fact that the fuel mixture will come into play here as well. So there's a lot of different things that drivers have got to go into their race car. This is not in any way a case of just going round and round an oval on lap number 6 or 225 here today. This is a thinking man's race. And actually, what I find as well is that at a track like this, is that people will give up positions to people because they know you lose too much time trying to fight with them.
Yeah, we see that in most forms of racing, actually. Some people will just give up a position to just get constant lap times in. And as you said, well, these cars, obviously, you can change weight jackers on them, you can change the balance of the car throughout the stint, and maybe Robert Grosser is just able to do that better than Lucas Laville at the moment, as we have just seen Evan Fitzgerald round again in the 36 machine. He's down into pit lane.
So, we just have a huge pack of cars here. We almost saw 2 of them get loose. And this is down from P number 9 all the way through to P number 13. They're going 3 wide right now. This is incredible racing.
Yeah, I've just seen that as well, Will, and this is brilliant. We're seeing the likes of Sam Winton, Carson Broadway, names we're familiar with in the Classic IndyCar series, but these guys are not being afraid to get close and up and close to each other. Bearing in mind, ladies and gentlemen, we have 157 laps of this motor race left. We have 157 miles still to cover, and these guys are going at it like we've got 4, as we see Sam Winton getting laid into the wall a bit, but these guys are getting very close behind there. We're seeing cars from around P8 down to around P13, P14 here. And at the moment, Andrew Aitken in that number 26 car is just being able to drive away from a few of them. But Nils Hindenbridge, he has got some challenge from behind. Pit Carnan, as we see Sam Winton going to try and go wide, try and take that high line. But Carson Broadway going to come in on the inside. This is very close racing here.
This is amazing racing, and I will say, for the marks who's watching, yes, we know it's not exactly 1 mile in length. It's like 1.025 miles in length, and therefore it's not exactly 100-something miles to go, but it's close enough. We're not going to be like Marty Reid in the NASCAR, what was it back then? NASCAR Nationwide race, of course, which is the reason why essentially he got fired from ESPN. We will make sure the white flag is called as the white flag lap today. We promise, we guarantee it. As we've been riding aboard of Michael Gerlicher. And the reason why we've been training this camera angle for so long is because it's fascinating there. The battle between Carson Broadway and Sam Winton just ahead of him. I mean, 2 wide pretty much the last 5 laps.
I don't think they've been too wide for pretty much most of the race, Will. These guys just cannot seem to let go of each other. It's almost like they've got magnets to the side of the car and they just cannot get away from each other. But this view that we're seeing from the number 57 car really shows how close these guys are getting, as maybe Broadway got a bad run off of turn number 2, but he's going to try and go down on the inside again. But Sam Winton here, he is doing very well to hold that, but the 57 getting a brilliant run off turn number 4, and he's got past Carson Broadway there going on to lap number 73.
Yep, now he's just got to make the move work on the outside, out of corner number 2. He gets a nose clear. That's not enough. He needs to make sure, in fact, he's not going to make the pass. He gets a better run out of the corner, but he seems to lose speed into the corner. So that car isn't as stable in turn in as it is on turn exit, as Robert Grosser has fallen a little bit behind Michele Constantini, by the way. Just to give you an update on the lead, and Jonathan Diggs there.
We got a car round. We got Pit Carnan round.
And that is Hans Pitkanen there. We go yellow.
There was no contact there for the number 8, just went round on his own coming round to turn 2, something which we have seen drivers do a lot in this race so far today. Still got 150 laps to go, but another yellow period. Pit Carnan is moving again, but he has lost a lot of positions. He is down to P number 17 after running up in the top 10 earlier on, Will, and this is going to bring them all back together. Lucas Laville looks like he's actually lost a position.
And this is interesting now, because they will probably all come on pit road this time by. All I can say about Hans Pitkanen, you'll spin me right round, baby, right round, like an old school IndyCar driver. But for the driver of Lucas Laville, if they all come on towards pit road, Laville should come out of the race lead. Why? Here's why. Because of the fact that he should take about 2 seconds less of fuel over the driver of Constantini and Robert Grosser. But Laville did lose a position to Randy Shoemaker a little bit earlier on in this event. Everyone is on towards pit road, bar the number 8 machine, who is scored a lap down. That is Hans Pitkanen.
Yeah, I think he's just staying out to try and get the track position back on the others. He's only about halfway through his stint as well, but Lucas Laville is going to have a shorter pit stop. He's going to come to a stop just about now. We've got the top 3 all in the first 3 pit boxes. Let's see who gets out first. I think they're all going to be out at a very similar time. Robert Grosser looks like his car is down off the jacks first, but Michele Constantini actually first car out off of pit road, but Lucas Laville has jumped Robert Grosser up into essentially second.
Yeah, so Constantini moves up then a couple of places. Lucas Laville is in second place. The graphics are a little bit wrong there, but we'll talk you through it, shall we? It is actually the driver of Marco Babanera who has stayed out, as well as the driver of Jonathan Diggs. Michele Constantini comes out ahead of Lucas Laville, Robert Grosser, Randy Shoemaker, Andrew Aitken. We expect Babanera and Jonathan Diggs on towards pit road in a moment's time, and we will be back in a moment.
Watch Ernie, go, go, go. All right, all right, all right, all right. Watch him, watch him, watch him, watch him. Damn it! Get ready. Dude, more heads up than that. Jeez.
Right on the back wing. Can he make it happen?
Push like hell. We gotta stay in front of these guys.
Both drivers on the push to pass. Contact in the pit lane.
All right, 60. Let that eagle fly. What do I do? What happened? Push here. Push hard. Let's go get this guy. Car outside. Through behind you. Tell. Clear outside. Good job. Just spun behind you. I don't know if you got him or not.
He got out of it so hard. Look at these guys are all over the back.
Full throttle.
IndyCar.
The in and out lap.
What's next?
Come and get the checkers, big boy. Oh, baby, that was good. He hit me. Inside, outside.
2017 Verizon IndyCar Series. See what's next.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to RaceSpotTV. Don't forget, you are 1 hour, 15 minutes away from the next round of the Skip Barber 2K World Cup here on RaceSpotTV, streaming live on iRacing Live, and later on this evening as well, we go back to IndyCars. It is the Apex Infotech Indy Elite Series, deep in the heart of Texas. I'm doing a lot of musical references today here, Jack.
You are, and I must congratulate you. Your singer voice is brilliant. As we just see people going to come around, they're lining up 2x2 once again to take the restart, and obviously Jonathan Diggs up the front, going to take that restart from that pole,
This is gonna
from
be
that number one
interesting.
position. It is, because we've got quicker cars behind and slower cars in front. Will, what do you reckon's going to happen coming into turn one?
Pandemonium time is what I'm going to call it. Diggs, Banana, side by side, green flag back in the air, and look at this already. Michele Constantini past one, down to the inside, looking to go past two on the exit of corner number 2, and he does so. So Constantini is back out front. Now it's a case of what about all the other drivers? What's going to happen there? Lucas Leville down in 3rd place, up into 2nd right now. So Leville has now got the advantage over Robert Grosser, but they are 2 wide, 3 deep at New Hampshire Motor Speedway. Guys, this ain't Talladega right now. Get yourself single file, get yourself into a rhythm, as you've got yourself Diggs down into P number 4 already. And this is always the issue. When you do this alternate strategy, you actually lose more than you gain, because you are just going to be swallowed up when you've done 82 laps on a racing set of tyres compared to drivers behind you. Well, it does mean we've got ourselves fantastic racing going on around the bottleneck. Here's Henry Bennett just losing 2 places. He's going to lose another 2 places. Henry Bennett there, 4 places in one straightaway.
Yeah, and that's really surprising from Henry. He's down into P10 now in that number 41 machine. He's really lost out on this restart. But Michele Constantini, he was just able to work his way through the traffic, able to get himself back up into the front and into clean air. But going back to what you were saying, Will, is actually, I think the better thing to do there would have been to pit, because the drivers who were up at the front, it'd be Marco Barbanera and Jonathan Diggs, those two would have lost a hell of a lot of time just being passed by other drivers. They were better off pitting. I mean, Jonathan Diggs has been 83 laps on this stint, so he has got to pit in the next few laps, and I would be very surprised if he has to do that under a caution. I am almost certain it will be a green flag pit stop. So for him, it would be much better to pit under caution, maybe same with Marco, and just be able to get into a track position where actually they aren't going to lose as much time as being up at the front.
The thing is, if there's a yellow that's saying 30 laps time, and let's pretend that Barbanera and Diggs are still in P number 3 and P number 4, they would still lose a lot of time because of the way that they've got to take a lot more fuel. I mean, for example, Jonathan Diggs will basically still fall to the rear of the field. We're on board with the Go Daddy car of Marco Barbanera right now, still running himself in that 3rd place. Jonathan Diggs is in the 4th position as we speak. We go on board with him. But that car doesn't seem to be able to really get himself much speed through the centre of the corner right now. As we've got ourselves Niels, he's just coming towards yellow. Yeah, he spun around. I was going to say he's either on pit road or he spun. and he ended up looping that car around. I think he tagged the wall just as he came into the corner, got himself into the dirty stuff, hit the wall again, hit the number 26 machine. Yellow flag has come out. So for Niels there, that is race over for him.
Yeah, certainly, and we just saw that car just get far too high. He went into the wall, and unluckily for Niels, he did collect a couple of other cars coming back across. Andrew Aitken, who we have seen up at the sharp end of this field already, Will, in that number 26 car, he has got extensive damage on his right hand side on his front wing, and I would not be surprised if he also has suspension damage, so that number 26 car maybe not going to be able to function as well as it would have done.
And that's a shame, because Andrew Aitken is always a dark horse, and you can see Andy is going to bring that car towards pit road, as well as Babanara, as well as Dig. But there you can see there is front wing damage there, just where the Kmart sign is on that car. There's a little bit to the side pod, but he might well be okay in that one. Andrew Aitken then on pit road, and he's out and away. So just replacing the front wing then for him, 6.7 second pit stop. He is out. And we also had ourselves there Babanara losing out to Dale Stanley, but Michelle Constantini then now leads us motor race. It's Lucas Laville in second place. Robert Grosser, he runs in third. Well then, ladies and gentlemen, we are still here at New Hampshire Motor Speedway. This is lap number 88 of 225. And here then is a recap of the race so far, brought to you by Logical Innovative Engineering. Start of the motor race was okay. Robert Grosser had a record-making pole position. He is now 2 pole positions ahead of the driver of, I've forgotten who it is actually, Mark Usher, that's the one. So Robert Grosser has the most pole positions in the history of the Classic IndyCar Series, but he's not had it his own way. On one of the restarts, he lost it to Lucas Laville, got it back on the next restart, but Michelle Constantini has become the new dominant force of this race so far. All the incidents we've seen here today have been solo car incidents. Patrick Byrne didn't start this event. Caton Bomber's batch is out. Johnny Garrett is out. Dave Liddell, Evan Fitzgerald, Sam Whitten, and Niels Hundiage all out of this event. But Jack, these incidents have not really been what we like to call stupid moves. These have all been drivers just losing it on the racetrack.
Yeah, and I mean, it's just been mistakes from drivers where maybe they shouldn't have had it. Maybe the car just got unsettled on the track, sorry. But it's just, we haven't seen any multi-car pile-ups. And obviously, if anyone knows their IndyCar history, you will know that back in 2011 when they had this race here, we saw quite a few multi-car pile-ups, one of which has become one of the most iconic in IndyCar history. But actually, these drivers here today, they've been able to keep it pretty clean. They haven't really had many incidents where they have been multi-car pile-ups, and if there has been other cars involved, it's just been because they had nowhere to go. This circuit isn't very wide, but everyone's starting to go 2 by 2, ready to get ready for this restart.
Indeed, so, and actually what we have had 2 by 2 racing today, it's been what we like to call the good, hard, fast racing, clean style. We are now on lap number 90 of 225 here today. We are about to go back to green flag racing here at New Hampshire Motor Speedway. At the front of your field, familiar faces. Constantini, Lucas Laville, restart, fan immersion. Here we go. Not much change happening. He says, I think we're still green. We are still green. Lap number 94 of 225 here then on RaceSpotTV. However, it is worth noting that we are likely to get to about lap number 100 by the time we hit the top of the hour. And that is still 25 laps short of where we need to be to complete the race distance in 2 hours, Jack.
Yeah, I don't think we're going to see this race go to full distance here today. I think we're going to probably see it go to about 190, 180 laps because of how many cautions we are having. It's a shame we aren't getting very long periods of green flag racing. We had one which was probably 30 laps, I'd say, Will. But we haven't seen one which was sort of 70, 80, 90 laps. And actually, I think that is slightly ruining the race. Although cautions is bringing strategy more into it, making strategy more interesting, it's taking that physical racing aspect out of the race, as we see Robert Grosser just maybe looking up the inside of Randy Shoemake, who made his way up into third on the restart. But at the moment, this race is definitely not going to go to full distance. It's going to hit the 2 hour time limit, but also I think the cautions is breaking up the very feel of this race and actually maybe ruining the actual racing itself.
Robert Grosser, actually, it's worth noting, actually, Randy Shoemake in that third position, because Shoemake is having a fantastic race here today, actually, running in third. And I'm just going to show you the graphic right now of the movers in this event so far. Now everyone's made multiple pit stops. Shoemaker's up 11 places at New Hampshire Motor Speedway. You don't often talk about that.
No, and I mean, to see someone who's up 11 places and has got 2 pit stops as well. He's pitted twice along with Lucas Laville, but he is up 11 places from where he started, so he's clearly found some time from quali just earlier on, and he is really making that car show today, running in third.
Lap number 99 or 225 then here on RaceSpotTV. And what is worth noting is still a lot of drivers still scored on the lead lap. There are 15 drivers scored on the lead lap as we have a look right now at the battle going on between Michael Gerlicher and Carsten Bonaway as they work themselves through past the start-finish line in towards turn number 1 and 2 on their 100th lap here around New Hampshire. On board with Gerlicher. And this is the thing, this is what I mean. It's that one of the good things the cautions does do is it allows the track to kind of be cleaned a little bit, shall we say. Because otherwise, this has a horrible habit, New Hampshire, of becoming a one-groove racetrack. But we have seen the outside line working better than the inside here today. So because we've got people running in lanes 2, 3, and 4, it has kind of kept this track open for business.
Yeah, definitely, and I mean, obviously we do see there are good and bad cautions, but being able to see that the cars are actually finding different paces across the 3 lanes in the circuit, as we see Gerlicher going down low to lane 2, and making it work better than Brovey, who was a bit higher in lane 3 on that time coming out of turn 2. It's just interesting to see how the track is evolving throughout this race. Obviously we've had 102 laps, that's quite a long distance here, that's over 100 miles, so we've got 100 miles of running, 100 miles of rubber down on the circuit, but we're seeing cars which have seen 5 cautions. These set of tyres might have already seen a caution, so they've already had a heat cycle go through them, Will, which would have just taken a little bit more life out of the tyres. So these cars are going to get more and more slippery as it comes along, but there's going to be more and more rubber laid down on the track just to make the track evolve even more, so the drivers are going to be learning every single lap.
Robert Grosser has closed right back up to the rear of Randy Shoemake, we say, through turn number 1 and 2. And this is the issue, I think, for Grosser. I've been having a look through, and he struggles in the corners here today. It's like he can close up to Shoemake, doing a couple of laps in a row by closing up, and then all of a sudden, he just hits that dirty air. Gerlicher has lost the place to Carson Bodaway. Tim Miller has lost the place to Henry Bennett.
Yeah, just seeing a couple of overtakes here at New Hampshire on the same lap. Tim Miller also getting past John Elswine for P6 in the number 2 machine. So we're starting to see people maybe finding a rhythm and being able to do overtakes here, Will, as well. So we're going to maybe start seeing some more overtakes as everyone just tries to settle down into a rhythm, and we're going to get maybe a long period of green flag running. That would be very nice to see here, so we can see green flag pit stops and maybe strategy come into this a bit more.
Yeah, although Tim Miller and John Elmsheimer came very close into turn number 2, they now head through turn number 3 and 4, and actually it does look as though that Elmsheimer should have the advantage. He does have the advantage there out the corner, and he should take that advantage back over Miller. Miller is actually running a very strong race here today, and again, you know, being a part of the IndyCar community for so long, people like Tim Miller, of course, he races in the RFJ series that took place on every Saturday morning. I've seen him running in the 16 Tree Racing League, seen him running in the ISOWC IndyCar series that I used to run, seen him running in the Apex IndyTech Indy Elite series, and of course here in the Classic IndyCar series. He's one of the people you won't see often running in the regular series, but when you do see Tim Miller on track, he's one of those drivers that automatically kind of demands respect even. Not because of the fact that, you know, he's authoritarian or anything, but because he's one of the cleanest racers that you will ever see on track.
Yeah, and I mean, a lot of these drivers out here today haven't got incident points so far, but Tim Miller, he just seems to be able to keep his nose clean. He seems to be able to keep it out of the wall, keep it out of incidents, and keep that car settled on the circuit. And for him, he's definitely making that play. He's up 9 positions on where he started. He's currently sat in P6. And we've seen him had a challenge for, he's obviously been challenging John Elmsheimer for P6. So actually for Tim Miller, seeing him do as well as he does in this series and also in this event, maybe just shows why he's such a good and such a respected driver in the IndyCar community. Obviously, as you said, Will, he's been around for a long time. He knows these IndyCars well. So being able to see him here today and see some experience, along with a lot of the other drivers who spend a lot of their time in the IndyCars, people like Henry Bennett, who I know is up at the front of the official series, actually, that's a good thing to see. It's a good thing to see the IndyCar community are actually taking part and making sure these cars are truly loved on the iRacing service.
And the good thing is as well, this is the old style IndyCar. So I'm going to go a little bit off script here. The issues that may or may not exist in the standard IndyCar community on an oval generally are setups, as Randy Shoemake there, right to the wall as they work themselves down into turn number 3 and 4. But the biggest issue always used to be setups on an oval track. Of course, we had that when the Dallara IR05 was the official car, as Grosser tries to look down to the inside of Randy Shoemake. They do so through turn number 1 and 2. They keep going side by side on the exit of turn number 1 and 2, down into 3 and 4. But the thing about this series is, it's running what we like to call in iRacing now a historic car. A car that has no real official series attached to it. And I think actually what it's done is provided a more level playing field for drivers compared to if this was to be another DW12 league.
Yeah, and actually, I think it's quite nice to see the IR05 out, because it's not, I don't think it's used as much in the iRacing service. Obviously, you do get it with your subscription, you get it for free. So, and that's another bonus, is you get to be able to drive this car for free. So anyone on the iRacing service has access to it, and anyone can drive it. But it's also interesting just to see how, and also as you said, Will, it does provide a level playing field. Because there's no official series to go and really play with this in, this is the only series I know of that runs this car. So the drivers in here are going to be able to help each other to find pace. And every other IndyCar league I've seen runs the newer DW12. And to see the IR05 on track, I think is brilliant, because it just means that we get to see some of the historical cars coming back through the iRacing service that drivers maybe don't want to see, or drivers maybe won't drive because there's no official series.
Just to let you know, Robert Grosser has got himself past Shoemaker. He just did it there down at turn number 1 and 2 of this lap. So Grosser back up into 3rd place. But the issue is, as a consequence, Grosser has lost 2 seconds to your race leader. He's lost himself about a quarter of a second over the last 3 laps.
Yeah, and I mean, that gap is going to be very hard for Grosser to pull back. He's going to be wishing for a caution now, as we see Laville and Constantini still running up the front, still being there at the sharp end. But I mean, these two are, at the moment, are untouchable, Will. No one can get near them, even in green flag running. And Robert Grosser, we know, is 2 seconds behind Lucas Laville, and I can't see him making that back under green flag. He's going to need a caution to be able to get back up at the sharp end of this field.
let's have a look down through your field a little bit, and you've got Andrew Aitken involved in the battle with Michael Gerlicher and Carson Bodaway, who have been battling it out. They're battling it out once again through corners number 3 and 4 here. 57 on the inside. Outside is is actually the driver Andrew Aitken, and now he goes to the outside of Gerlicher. Carson Bodaway is the driver who has himself the advantage, as Aitken does look as though he may well have got himself clear. Look at this then. Andrew Aitken, 2 drivers looking for 1 lap. Andrew Aitken just realised, wait a minute, I want fresher tyres than you guys. I want position. I want track position. No more running in the dirty air for me and Andrew Aitken. The thing about New Hampshire is you don't make a pass in just one corner. You have to fight it out. You've got to duke it out. And this is what Andrew Aitken's doing, that number 26 machine. Arguably doing a better job than Marco Andretti would ever do around here, as Bodaway just tags the wall through corner number 3.
Yeah, and I think Broadway just got a little bit too much speed, maybe just got a little bit too intense there. But Andrew Aitken, brilliant driving from him. He obviously needed a few laps to be able to get past that number 78 car. But Broadway just making a small mistake, and he has now been left to the clutches of Hans Pitkanen in the number 8 car. And Pitkanen is going to want that position. Broadway is maybe going to be shaken up by that incident going a bit high into the wall. So he's just going to need a few more laps to find his rhythm back, Will. And we could see some slower lap times from him.
He did actually hit the wall on the exit of turn number 2 as well, just glanced it, and I think that's what really set him up for him hitting the wall down at turn number 3. Maybe got himself a couple of marbles on that car as well. Carson Bodaway down into P number 10 right now. Hans Pitkanen is up into 11th place after issues for him earlier on in the day. John Elsweimer versus Henry Bennett is going on for P5, P number 6 on track. And again, you know, this track, it was controversial when IndyCar came here. It was one of actually it's part of IndyCar's movement to move away from the NASCAR owned tracks to go to the IMS based tracks, and it really didn't work. Of course, you had 2 of them you had 3 of them on the schedule that year. You had yourself Texas Motor Speedway, that was fine. You had yourself this, which ended in the stupidest finish I've ever seen to a motor race in history. And then, of course, you have yourself Las Vegas Motor Speedway, owned by these same people. Of course, we all know what happened at Las Vegas. We're not going to talk about that. But this track, you know, Milwaukee Mile has been a staple of IndyCar racing for so many years. But one would argue, actually, Jack, that this track, in theory, is better for IndyCar racing than Milwaukee because of that step banking.
Yeah, and I think that step banking just has another level of challenge to these IndyCars. And obviously, New Hampshire, we know, is iconic in the IndyCar community. We know it's iconic in the 2011 race especially. There haven't been many races here, and there hasn't been a race since 2011 at New Hampshire. But the races we have had here have been brilliant. They've been so close. We're seeing it again today with these IRO5s, and exactly the same car as they ran in 2011. And we're seeing the same kind of racing, Will. We're seeing close-packed, close-quarter racing, but we're just not seeing the multi-car pile-ups that we did see in that 2011 event. But New Hampshire, I think it's brilliant for IndyCars because of that step banking and that challenge that it adds to the race.
Just checking, by the way, Move That Block was the official title sponsor of the 2011 IndyCar Series race. They actually don't exist anymore. Whoopsie daisy, what a shame. Michele Constantini still leads the race from Lucas Laville, but Laville is looking racy all of a sudden. It is Penske car versus the car of a Target Chip Ganassi machine. And, well, it actually is what the driver of Helio Castroneves would have been running, not Will Power. And 2011 was actually the battle between the driver of Will Power and Dario Franchitti. Came down to the final few laps, final 100 laps of the Cafe de Brazil Indy 300 at Homestead, where Will Power, of course, just hit the wall. One of those side taps, actually, we've seen a couple of times here today, Jack. That's Scott's drivers. It hurt Will Power, but it looks, you know, this is what I love about sim racing as well. We can replicate some of these good old-fashioned Penske versus Ganassi battles.
Yeah, we can, and obviously Penske versus Ganassi still happens today in the IndyCar series,
yeah.
And it's happened basically through the whole history of IndyCar, and actually to see these being in sim racing, being able to replicate it through the classic IndyCar series, and I wish we saw more series like this, Will. because honestly, as Lucas Reveal really tries to look down the inside of Michele Constantini coming into turn 2, but to see series like this, using old cars and trying to replicate the old series or past seasons, I think it's a brilliant idea. Why aren't more people doing this?
I don't know, but right now it's a case of use the lap traffic as a pick, if you can. And it's going to help actually the driver of Lucas Reveal, because you could just see on the exit of turn number 2, the fact that the driver of Michele Constantini had issues, but somehow Reveal wasn't able to capitalize on that one. The lap times have been favorable for Lucas Reveal for the last couple of laps, but now it's a case of you're in that dirty air, you got to use that weight jacket, you got to use those anti-roll bars, and you got to go for it.
Yeah, you have, and that is the only way you're going to make positions in this race at the moment. When we're seeing a long green flag run, Lucas Reveal is definitely up to the back of Michele Constantini now. You can tell he wants that position. He has been there for the last 5 laps, Will, and that number 10 machine is not going to let down. He is probably on full fuel at the moment, really pushing to get past Constantini for that first position, and if he can get there, I think he can drive away.
Yeah, we're on board then with Lucas Reveal. Let's give you a couple of laps on board. This is RaceSpotTV Fan Immersion. Yellow flag out on track. And
oh, we've had the number 8 machine of Pit Carnan round. He's just lost the rear end coming out of turn 2.
Second time today, loops it on the exit of turn number 2. Well, I was about to say that if we were to be in the same situation, we would probably finish on lap 225 just as we got to the 2-hour limit. Now it's back in the balance. Hans Pitkin then turns around. Everyone should be, well, everyone will be on pit road this time by. I absolutely guarantee it. 1, 2, 3, 4, get with the, yep, everyone's coming on towards pit road. Everyone is going to make themselves a service this time around. And well, let's have a look through it, Jack. One, 2, 3, 4 cars then at the front of your field. Who's going to be the first on pit road? Constantini will win it off pit road once again. Reveal second. Shoemake gets ahead of Grosser once again. Bennett in 5th. Aiken 1 position ahead of Elmsheimer. Bodaway, then Barbarena, etc. Off, as you can see then, are your top 15 off of pit road. Don't really expect much more than that. But Constantini again winning the battle of pit road. We'll be back in a moment's time.
Get ready, going green. Green, green, green.
Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to RaceSpotTV. Michele Constantini versus Lucas Laville, then. For your race lead is the battle for the moment. Let's give you a little bit more RaceSpotTV fan immersion as we come back to green. So then we've currently got ourselves Michele Constantini still leading the way from Lucas Laville. But the thing is here, Jack, that first of all, Randy Shoemaker just set the first lap of the day so far, 22.964. But also Laville right behind the driver of Constantini, Shoemaker right behind him.
Yeah, these three guys are up front. They are really going for it together. And Lucas Laville, I know he can challenge for the lead. I've seen him do it before, and I think he can do it again. But Michele Constantini has been mega fast all day. He has been brilliant up at the front of this field. He has led for a long time. Randy Shoemaker as well, he's doing perfectly. He's just logging laps, doing what he needs to do. And as we've seen, we know he's fast. He's done the fastest lap. He's one of only two drivers to break into the 22-second mark, the other being Lucas Laville. But these guys are going to be full of fuel, and they're going to have brand new tyres as well, so expect to see some fast laps over the next few.
Yeah, indeed. So there is your top three there, and you can see just how close it is. Lucas Laville may be thinking about looking down to the inside, but he doesn't. He bulks at the opportunity that allows Randy Shoemaker to have himself a look down to the inside as they come down past the start-finish line. That 144 of 225 scored complete. By the way, Jack, if you want to know, by the way, what's going on right now, I'm doing literally a microphone stand replacement in the middle of a broadcast. I'm 2/3 of the way there. I've just got to actually now get it into the hole, giggity, and then actually tie it up. And actually, I've just replaced an entire mic stand and the entirety during a broadcast.
I mean, ladies and gentlemen, this is why Will Vincent is one of the best, because he can commentate, he can also direct, and replace a microphone stand at the same time. That is brilliant. And, Will, I must congratulate you. I think that is quite a skill.
Yeah, so I think we're almost at the point now where normal service will be resumed. There we are. Indeed so. So we should be up and running now. So, having a look down your field, TM Hauser, by the way, is back out on track. We talked about him earlier on being involved in an issue. He's battling out with Carsten Broadway. Actually, no, he's not. It's Del Stanley just behind him. But driver Tim Hauser is only one of those who will be opportunistic if we get ourselves any more cautions here today. But also, this freeway battle for the front of your field is not calming down. But let's talk about Tim Hauser for a moment here, Jack. Because what will happen is if there's a yellow, Tim Hauser wants to have moved himself through as much of the field as possible so that he can get himself the opportunity to get his lap back. So he has to be aggressive, because otherwise he'll just do the whole habit of falling to the rear, falling to the rear, falling to the rear.
Yeah, and we saw him actually on the last caution period. He didn't pit.
Yep.
He stayed out. So he got a lap back then. He's still only one lap back off the lead. So TM Hauser, I think he can make it back to the front and at least get it back onto the lead lap if we have a couple more cautions, Will. But at the moment, we're seeing long stretches of green flag running. We're seeing more green flag running now than we have through the whole of the race. We've got 75 laps still to go, and we've got 40 minutes to cover it. I think we might make full distance here now.
We are going to be close. There's 76 laps, as you can see there. Up on your screen, classified as remaining. 43 minutes, 21 seconds to do that in. I think we might do so if we don't. I think the situation is 2 more cautions, and it's going to be borderline. Any less than that, I think we should just about complete it. And actually, You know, there's going to be viewers that says, why are you talking about cautions? Why do you always talk about cautions? In a timed race like this, you've got to think about both. You've got to think about lap count and also time limits.
Yeah, and I mean, it's just going to give the drivers something else to think about. We've seen it before in RaceSpotTV broadcasts in other series, some of them not even on road, and the cautions can just change. Oh, Randy Shoemate going down on the inside. He looks as though he's going to challenge for second, but Laville is going to get better run off turn 2 there. But going back to what I was saying a second ago, cautions really do change the evolution of a race and how strategy works, and some drivers can just get caught out by them. And I don't think anyone at the moment here in this race have got crew chiefs as well, Will. So they're having to do all the strategy calculations on their own while racing.
Now the good thing is most people from here on in should just be about able to complete the race without topping up fuel once again. However, this situation will then become about tyres. If there's a caution that will happen in, let's say, 30 laps time, do you take tyres? That's a difficult thing. And again, you know, I was a racer on iRacing for about 2-3 years, but I was also a crew chief. I was the strategist there for, and actually, I'm going to say, probably one of the most controversial IndyCar teams in the history of iRacing. But a big part of me being successful was being the kind of Alain Prost, the thinker's man here. And again, this is now a thinker's man race, and Lucas Laville very close up behind of Michele Constantini. But these three drivers right now seem to be playing a little game of chicken.
Yeah, and I mean, obviously, I'm the same as you, Will. I'm a driver on iRacing, but I'm also a crew chief. I run a team, and I've been involved in I was involved in the Neo Endurance Series last year, and I was chief engineer or whatever on a car in the prototype class, and we were, for 24 hours, we're just on it, and the strategy was actually what got us our finish that we did, and it was the best finish that team had ever had. But going back to this race, Lucas Laville is challenging. We've got these three cars there at the front. They are covered by 0.4 of a second. Blink and you miss it. That's just how fast this race is going at the moment. And Michele Constantini is doing extremely well to hold off Lucas Laville, because we know Laville is fast and we know Laville can really challenge here.
Michael Gerlicke, by the way, looking down to the inside of number 2 machine of Tim Miller. That is a battle going on to beat the last driver classified inside your top 10. We will try and find the opportunity to run through your field here on RaceSpotTV. Today's coverage is brought to you by Logical Innovative Engineering. If you are a sim racer, then you need to check out these guys. What they want to do, they want to bring you as close as possible to the real world by using real world applications inside sim racing technology to make your sim racing experience as close to realistic as you can possibly get. So check out Logical Innovative Engineering, and our coverage today is also brought to you by Joel Real Timing. And the cleanest driver of this event will also receive a Joel Real Timing key to use on that application. And Shoemake today, I will say, is my proper dark horse in this event, because I would not have expected him to be this close to the field coming into this event. I was thinking top 5, maybe P number 7, maybe for Shoemake. He's in P number 3. He's with the race leaders. Grosser has faded. Shoemake, if you were to be a betting man right now, Jack, would have very, very good odds.
Yeah, I mean, he's got brilliant odds, even for a top 3 at the moment, because he is just showing what he's made of. He is showing that he is able to be up at the front and really challenging these guys, as he's always going to go down on the inside into turn number 1 of Lucas Laville. He's going to creep up in second. Laville with the high line going to carry a bit more speed and be able to hold that second place coming out onto the back straight. Going back again, Shoemake, he's done a brilliant job today, and just showing he's got the fastest lap so far as well. And as you said, Robert Grosser, he has faded from the start of this race. He is no longer at the front. Shoemake, he's used that to his advantage. He has got to the front and he is challenging, and he is doing a brilliant job at the moment, and I think he's going to carry that through the final 63 lap.
But the thing is, for Robert Grosser, he needs to pick up the pace. The reason for that is, of course, he is behind the championship right now. If he wants any chance of going for championship glory, he really does need to find a way of beating Lucas Laville here today, and so far, he ain't doing it.
No, he's not, and he's about 0.8 off the lead at the moment, Robert Grosser, so he's still within a second. He's still got the draft. But he just hasn't got the speed. I don't think his car is there for him today, and he's clearly not got something wrong coming into this race, and he just cannot get it to work here at New Hampshire Motor Speedway. But Lucas Leveille, he's showing why he leads this championship. He's showing why he deserves to as well. Shoemake, I think he's definitely going to try. He's just looking down on the inside of Leveille. I think Shoemake needs to try and get out on the high line. Although saying that, Leveille has gone very wide up into the top lane. Shoemake, he is up into P2. Lucas Leveille is going to be down into P3. Are we going to see him challenge coming into turn 1, Will?
Nope.
Maybe, maybe not. He's just going to sit there and try and save some fuel, I think. So Randy Shoemake, he is up into P number 2 in that 06 car, up 12 positions on where he started.
The thing is, what you say about saving fuel, drivers don't need to save fuel, I think, in this race anymore. Because everyone's on the same strategy. I think everyone should be good to go to the end of this motor race. I mean, we've got what? I'm trying to do maths in my head. 60 laps to go here at the line. Well, 59 laps to go at the line. And the thing is, saving fuel, in my opinion, shouldn't be an option right now. Track position should dominate, because what you should do in this type of race is be reactionary on pit road. When your leader comes in, you come in as well. Behind, here comes the combo train once again. These are the drivers who are battling so closely early on this event. It's Pitkanen, Miller, Gerlicke, Graffini, who have been battling out all day long, and all of a sudden they just found each other again.
Yeah, and I mean, if anyone sort of can remember far enough back, this reminds me of a trolley train. Just endless cars. And actually, when Trulli was still in Formula 1, teams used to use...
Oh, Tim Miller's turned around. Yellow. Crash. And Miller's race. He's going to get a penalty as well for that one, because he just spun on towards pit road. Tim Miller, we were talking about if this race went green, and while Tim Miller, who were on board of him, loses it first, I think, then gets hit. And I think he did the whole thing of just locking those brakes up, trying to slow that car down. Didn't work out for him. But Tim Miller, he is generally ultra consistent, like I talked about earlier on in this webcast here today. He does get contact. He gets turned around by the number 57, Michael Gerlicke, then makes contact with another one of these drivers as well. What a shame for Tim Miller.
Yeah, that's a definite shame for him. He's been doing so well all race. He's been up in the top 10, and to have that happen to him is just unfortunate, and that's his day over. But Will, what are people going to do? Are people going to come down onto pit lane, or are they going to carry on?
Pit. You have to pit here. People like the Wolverhampton strategy, it seems.
Gerlicke doesn't.
No, but Gerlicke is so far down the field that actually he's thinking, well, this is the only way. And remember how hard it is to overtake here. He's the only driver who's thinking, wait a minute, I could have an opportunity here. So, here we are. Pit stops. Final pit stops, I would say, of the day. And it should be out of pit road. Constantini out first. Leveille second. Grosser, then Shoemake, Bennett, Atkin, Elmsheimer, Barbanera, and Pitkanen. We will be back.
Watch Ernie, go, go, go. All right, car right, car right, car right. Watch, jam it. Get ready. Dude, more heads up in that. Jeez.
Right on the back wing. Can he make it happen?
Push like hell. We gotta stay in front of these guys.
Both drivers on the push to pass. Contact in the pit lane.
All right, 60. Let that eagle fly. What do I do? What happened? Push here. Push hard. Let's go get this guy. Car outside. Through behind you. Toe. Clear outside. Good job. Just spun behind you. I don't know if you got him or not.
He got out of it so hard. Look at these guys are all over the back.
Full throttle.
IndyCar.
The in and out lap.
What's next?
Come and get the checkers, big boy. Oh, baby, that was good. He hit me. Inside, outside, outside.
2017 Verizon IndyCar Series. See what's next.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to RaceSpotTV. Don't forget, in 29 minutes' time, it'll be the 2K World Cup here on RaceSpotTV, streaming live on iRacing Live. We have ourselves 50 laps to go here on the classic IndyCar series. It's going to be a good race. It's going to be a fast race here today. The thing is, though, Jack, we've not seen any, what I like to call the quote-unquote bonehead moves. It's been genuine mistakes.
Yeah, I think that's a bit... well, obviously bonehead moves are not anything you ever want to see in motorsport, but to see these drivers driving so cleanly is very impressive. And the guys who have gone out, unlucky for them, I think, is just the way to look at it, Will. They just haven't been able to find the grip in the car, as we see everyone coming through now turn 3, coming onto turn 4 and onto the main straight to take the green flag. Michael Gerlicher, in the 57, going to be controlling the field coming up to the green flag here, Will, as we're just going to go green for one more time.
Yeah, indeed so. So thank you for being with us and not with her as we go back to green flag racing here on RaceSpotTV, and Gerlicher immediately down 1, down 2 places. This is what old tyres mean. 3 wide out of turn number 2.
Oh, there was contact between Gerlicher and Laville. I think they're coming out of turn number 2. And Gerlicher, I think he chose the wrong move there, Will. I think he's lost too much time there. The old tyres is going to hit him. And actually, I'm not sure he's got enough fuel to get to the end.
I'm not convinced either. He's down to P number 7 already. I mean, talk about a freight train. Whoop, whoop. Gerlicher is going to be down into P number 8 by the end of this lap, one would suspect. Constantini leads this event, but get this. It looks as though that we've got, oh my God, we've got battles going on 3 wide, down the middle of the pack. Yellow. We've got a yellow flag.
Looks
Jonathan
like
Diggs and Tim Miller.
4.
No, they were both on pit road already. Or were they? Replay.
No, I think Jonathan Diggs has just lost it coming through turn number 4.
Yeah, so it'll be Jonathan Diggs. Here we are on board of him. Back end steps out into the wall. So Diggs then is the driver involved in that incident. Yellow flag once again, which actually puts pay to what was a very tense battle happening through your mid-pack. The likes of Randy Shoemake, Andrew Aitken, Hans Petkinen, and Michael Gerlicher, John Elmsweimer. Worth noting that Grosser now up into P number 2. I was about to say that Bennett was ahead of Laville. That has changed places. We'll be back in a moment.
Racing, you wanted the best, you got them 4 abreast, often imitated, never duplicated, the greatest show on dirt, the World of Outlaws.
Hey guys, Christopher Bell here. As you guys know, iRacing is coming out with dirt, and it's been a long time coming. So I'm here today to kind of show you around the sprint cars and hopefully give you some insight for whenever you first drive it. So here we are at Williams Grove, gonna go out and make a couple laps in the 410 wing sprint car. I'm on default setup with a gear change to a 522. As we roll out of the pits, you guys might notice that the car wants to pull left and you have to hold the steering.
Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. Green flag going to be out next time by here on RaceSpotTV and on iRacing Live. We weren't watching some other broadcast, we promise. We're the only people you care about here. This is RaceSpotTV, the best in racing broadcaster in the world. Don't let anyone else say anything about that one. Michelle Constantini versus Robert Grosser versus Lucas Seville versus Henry Bennett versus Riley Shoemaker for your top 5. Keep an eye on that 06 machine is what I'm going to say on this restart here, Jack. Although the issue is on the inside, and we know the track favours the outside on restarts.
Yeah, it does, and we've got Robert Grosser as well. He's got back past Lucas Seville. He's all of a sudden back at the sharp end of this field, Will. How has that happened? The cautions have really shaken up this field. Henry Bennett the same. He's got back to the front. As we see, we're going to go green, 47 laps still to go in this race, but we've still got that problem of the time limit, and I don't think we're going to get full distance here today, so I think it is going to be a time limited 2-hour race. But we're going to come round to the green flag. Michelle Constantini in the 66 going to lead them round. Robert Grosser maybe looking like he got a better jump, but no, Michelle Constantini going to hold the inside line. Let's see what they're coming around coming through 1 and 2. Constantini, a lot more speed. We're going to go 4 wide, a bit further back, 3 wide, little touch, Bennett into the wall.
Trouble. Yellow.
Was that Bennett turning onto John Elmsweimer? Yes, it was. Bennett just turned into John Elmsweimer coming out of turn 2 after being up in the wall. So Henry Bennett, John Elmsweimer having a little bit of a tangle, and we're starting to see maybe latter race shenanigans here, Will.
The thing is, the 41, that's the first time all day long that we've seen a driver make what I would like to call a silly move. And the reason for that was, and I want to even put the entire blame on him, this is just a case of his spotter not working, him not, it's been a long race here today. So he first of all gets tagged into the wall, and then he just turns himself, and I'm just pause this graphic here right down as he starts moving across the racetrack. And I want to show it from up above. So what he's thinking is, okay, I'm clear. I'm going to move down to the inside of the racetrack to try and get myself better position into turn number 3 and 4. And as he does so, he's been losing speed because of that contact and because of the fact that we're going 3 wide. And what happens as a consequence is he contacts John Elmsweimer, and the two of them then involved in the incident.
Yeah, and I think that's just a very strange mistake there from Henry Bennett. We know this guy's quick, and he's got a lot of experience in these IndyCars, so I would have thought maybe he would have had the sense to stay up high, but actually, I don't think John Elmsweimer was even alongside him when he made the move. And I'm just going to go back and have a look at it. So when he came across, I think Elmsweimer was then coming into his path. So his spotter would have told him probably half a second too late there, Will. And that's just an unfortunate incident for those two.
Yep, so lap number 181 of 225 under caution again. I'm going to sound a bit like Fox News right now. I need some form of inspirational music to do this. And now on RaceSpotTV, we can predict that this race will run to time and not to laps. Is that good enough? We're back in a moment, ladies and gentlemen.
Watch Ernie, go, go, go. All right. Jam it. Get ready. Dude, more heads up in that. Jeez.
Right on the back wing. Can he make it happen?
Yes! Push like hell. We gotta stay in front of these guys.
Both drivers on the push to pass. Contact in the pit lane.
All right, 60. Let that eagle fly. What do I do? What happened? Push here. Push hard. Let's go get this guy. Car outside. Through behind you. Tell. Clear outside. Good job. Just spun behind you. I don't know if you got him or not.
He got out of it so hard. Look at these guys are all over the back.
Full throttle.
IndyCar.
The in and out lap.
What's next?
Come and get the checkers, big boy. Oh, baby, that was good. Hit me. Inside, outside.
2017 Verizon IndyCar Series. See what's next.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to RaceSpotTV here on iRacing Live as well. We might as well just show you then your top 8 as it stands so far, as we have got ourselves Michele Constantini leading the way over Robert Grosser, Lucas Laville in 3rd place, Andrew Aitken in 4th, Randy Shoemake in 5th, Hans Pitcairn in 6th. He's worked himself back up, as has Marco Baronera. Carson Bodway rounds out your top 8. Jack, it's time for the final restart, I would argue, because if we get any more than this, then this race is going to start getting very messy very quickly.
Yeah, and I mean, with motorsport is always known that cautions breed cautions, and I think actually if we have any more, the drivers are just going to start getting a little bit tired, a little bit frustrated. But Robert Grosser's got a good jump there on the green. He's going to take the lead from Michele Constantini. Andrew Aitken as well going to challenge Lucas Laville around the outside. So Robert Grosser has regained the lead. Lucas Laville is going to hold 3rd there, Will. That was a very good restart there from Robert, actually.
It is indeed. We have got some technical issues, so there we are. We're just going to move to that very quickly. There we are then. Michael Gerlicher down in P number 10 right now. Just having a look at the front of your field then. So Robert Grosser now is ahead of Constantini and the driver of Lucas Laville. He's been able to bring that one back into play, and that's been very interesting actually. How Robert Grosser, we haven't really seen or talked about him doing this, back it all of a sudden, he's there in P number 1.
He is, and I mean, he had his moment mid-race. I mean, he dropped right off the back. He was about 3 seconds off the lead at one point, I think, and now he's leading again, and everyone's following him as, Lucas Laville's going to go high. Andrew Aitken down below, but is Laville going to get the run off the corner? He needs to hold for 3rd position. Yes, he does. Aitken probably just going to slot back into 4th. No, he's not. He's going to challenge. We've got 2 wide here, 2 deep as well, Will. This is brilliant racing we're seeing now with just 39 laps to go on the board, but I think we aren't going to make it full distance now. Let's see how these guys go in the next 17 minutes.
Yep, so this is very close racing now between Lucas Laville, Michele Constantini and Robert Grosser. We are going to keep it to you here on RaceSpotTV. We do apologise for some of the technical difficulties that have just intercepted our race. We are going to try and keep it with you for the moment. If we do go to yellow, we will immediately go to commercial, just to let you know. But Andrew Aitken there, look at him right now. He's involved in a fantastic battle. Constantini's falling down your field. Oh, we got trouble. Big wreck. Caution. Replay coming up now. And I think that one starts and ends with Constantini, to be fair there, Jack.
Yeah, Constantini just got into the wall and touched Aitken there, and just there was nowhere else for the other cars to go. That's another caution. As I said just a few minutes ago, cautions breed cautions. Andrew Aitken is onto pit lane, and I do believe Michele Constantini, he is still running, probably going to try and get that car repaired and just get out and get some points. But there you go, Will. I think that's the first multi-car pile-up of the race.
Indeed so. Back in a moment.
Watch Ernie, go, go, go. Car right, car right, car right, car right. Watch him, watch him, watch him. Jam it. Get ready. Dude, more heads up than that. Jeez.
Right on the back wing. Can he make it happen?
Yes! Yes! Push like hell. We gotta stay in front of these guys.
Both drivers on the push to pass. Contact in the pit lane.
All right, 60. Let that eagle fly. What do I do? What happened? Push here. Push hard. Let's go get this guy. Car outside. Through behind you. Tell. Clear outside. Good job. Just spun behind you. I don't know if you got him or not.
He got out of it so hard. Look at these guys are all over the back.
Full throttle.
IndyCar.
In and out lap.
What's next?
Come and get the checkers, big boy. Oh, baby, that was good. Hit me. Inside, outside, outside.
2017 Verizon IndyCar Series. See what's next.
Ladies and gentlemen, we'll be heading ourselves to coverage of the Skip Barber 2K World Cup just after the top of the hour. Join myself, Will Winston, Jake Sperry, and whoever else wants to be there. And for coverage of that one, in about 20 minutes' time, we will hit the green flag, we hope. In the meanwhile, we are back to one lap to go here as, well, Grosser versus Laville, 1 and 2 in your field here, Jack.
Yeah, we've seen this battle before. We've seen it plenty of times this season, Will. We know these two fight really well. They fight really cleanly as well. They've got a lot of respect between each other. We know Laville's fast. We know Grosser's fast. But we also know Grosser has had a moment in this race where he just hasn't been there and he hasn't had the pace. And I wonder whether that's going to affect him on this restart in these final few minutes.
Live timing and scoring is still available, ladies and gentlemen. Just visit RaceSpot.tv/timing. We are getting ready then to go for what, well, we've got ourselves a while to go in this motor race, but we likely are going to see it come down to time. 16 minutes remaining on the play clock, or 34 laps. Whichever comes first. Green flag back in the air. One more time, Jack.
Yeah, we're going to go back green again. Robert Grosser's going to hold that lead, but look at Lucas Laville coming up on the back. Oh, and Laville has spun around Grosser.
Yeah. Uh-oh, there we are. There's Lucas Laville, and there is the driver of Robert Grosser, and that is going to be a controversial moment in this series. Replay coming up. We need to dissect this one, I think.
We surely do, and it just looks like Laville had so much more speed coming off of turn 2 there than Grosser.
Yeah.
And just a tiny touch sent him round. And actually, I'm wondering whether, did Shoemake Grubbs sustain some damage from that as well?
I'm not sure. What I want to do, though, is I want to have a look from a couple of different angles as they come. Yeah, that, in my opinion, does seem to be more of a case of the driver of Laville turning around Grosser than the other way around. I don't know. I need a few more camera angles, to be honest, about this one. Let's try them by starting on board with Robert Grosser. Here we are, on board of him. Yeah, I think he really did get turned around there. We need to have a look from Lucas Laville, in my opinion, as we're on board of him now. Yeah. I wouldn't put the full blame there on Lucas Laville. For those of you who know sim racing can interpret my words, but what a shame for Robert Grosser, because that's basically now ended his championship campaign.
Yeah, maybe, unless Laville has a bit of bad luck in the following rounds. Obviously, every single round left in this series is going to be broadcasted here on RaceSpotTV. Next up, I believe, is Sonoma, Will, in just a couple of weeks' time. But Laville, I think he was carrying too much speed, and he was the car behind. So technically, I think he should take responsibility for that.
Yeah.
But he just had more speed, and maybe wasn't as far over on the circuit than he thought he was.
There's one more look that we just showed you. I think that does put the blame more squarely at Lucas Laville's shoulders. However, let's pause it here, if we can, and zoom in. Nope, not allowing us to zoom in. Okay. Got some issues with our camera work orders on here, ladies and gentlemen. We do apologise for this one. But what we can see is this is the point of the incident. And there you can see Robert Grosser going around as a consequence of Lucas Laville. Which is a shame there. We're just going to stop for 2 seconds here, ladies and gentlemen. Just bring us... There we are. We should be okay now. So let's try and get ourselves one more replay of this. from up above, if we can. And here we are. Okay, so that's the point of contact right there. And you should see that was actual, you know, car-to-car contact. So no one can blame the N-word or anything else. That was contact there between Lucas Laville and the driver of Robert Grosser. 30 laps remaining, a lot less time in the books right now. One would argue that all of a sudden, this is going to be the race of whoever hasn't pitted, because of the fact, of course, Pitkanen, Gerlicher, Constantini, Bodaway, they haven't pitted recently.
No, they haven't, and I'm a bit confused. Lucas Laville has just driven through the pit lane and not stopped at his pit box. It's almost like he's done a drive-through penalty.
A self-declared drive-through penalty.
Yeah, and I mean, that's unless that's just good sportsmanship from him to say, and stuck his hands up and said, actually, that's my fault. I shouldn't have done that. But Hans Pitkanen, with not long left in this race, probably 10 minutes, maybe less than that. Do you know what? If he's got Michael Gerlicher behind and he gets a good start on this restart, I think he's got a good chance at winning this. And, oh my word, what a race this has been, Will, because it's just been flipped right on its head. The two championship contenders, well, they aren't anywhere near the front.
They're not. And we've got 11 minutes of this race to go. This is going to be a fascinating race to the end here. Don't forget, you can get a social list, ladies and gentlemen. We go back to green flag racing, and look at this. 3 wide, almost 4 wide racing as they come down in towards turn at number 1 and 2. It is the driver of Gerlicher round the outside, but they're going to go 3 wide now as they head themselves down in towards turn number 3 and 4, and it's going to be Pitkanen with the race lead. Where has Pitkanen come from?
I'm not sure, but he was leading when he crossed the line at the start of the restart, and he's just leading. He's leading still. Michel Constantini obviously wants to get past, and I think he's done it. Oh, has he done it down on the inside? I'm not sure. Yeah, I think he has. So Constantini back up into the lead, but Will, where has Pitkanen come from? He's come out of nowhere, and he's currently second.
He's
and challenging for the lead.
It's like an RKO. It's literally come out of absolutely nowhere. And the field were 3 wide for a while, but they settled down into single file once again. Lucas Laville, just to let you know, he's down in P number 9 right now. And the driver of, trying to look for Robert Grosser, he is in P number 8. Ironically, just ahead of Lucas Laville.
Yeah, I think those two are going to be, I think they're going to be running each other off their Christmas card list now after that incident, as we just see Michael Gerlicher looking down the inside of Hans Pitkanen. But those two, I think they're going to, I think that was a very rare mistake there from Lucas Laville. We know he's a good driver. We know he's a quick driver as well. Those two always race with, and they trust each other. As Carson Brovey really got a good run off turn 2 on Gerlicher. He's going to go round the outside. Oh, are we going to see 3 wide? No, because Pitkanen just dives to the inside. But Brodvey, is he going to take P number 3? Yes, he is. The number 78 machine up into position number 3 here with not, I can't see a time down counter. That's the problem, Will. I don't know how long is left in this race. I don't know how many more laps we've got. I reckon we've got 15 laps left.
Just a bit more than that. It's going to be very close, I still think, on the lap count, to be fair, between these drivers. But Gerlicher does run in P number 4, side by side behind. We've got Shoemake versus Elmsweimer, and this is 2 wide, 2 deep. Let's get the arc out one more time. Out of the corner, Grosser actually now battling out with the driver of Marco Babbanera. This is for P number 7 on track, but again, Grosser's been boxed in like a lot of drivers have been here today. Because you go 2 wide at New Hampshire, there is nowhere to go.
No, there isn't. We've seen that before, and Grosser's really... Oh, and it looks like Shoemaker's hit someone.
Yeah, Shoemaker's falling down the field a little bit.
Yeah, it looks like he had a little bit of contact with the number 7 car there. I'm not sure how much. Yeah, that was a little bit of rear-end contact, I think. Showing on my screen anyway. But Robert Grosser there is just going to take advantage of that. But he's still stuck behind them as he just cannot make his way through the field. Lucas Laville is just sitting behind, waiting for any accidents ahead, basically. He's just running in clean air, probably just trying to get it to the end now, get some points. But championship battle has been thrown right up in the air. Robert Grosser, and I think Lucas Laville actually maybe did that self-inflicted drive-through penalty just to keep that alive. And Grosser's round again.
Grosser hard into the wall there. That We will get a restart, ladies and gentlemen. We will get a restart. I can confirm that now. Let's have a look on board then with Robert Grosser. Now, number 88 machine now of Elmsheimer. He gets loose, gets tight first, hits the wall, then hits Grosser. Replay now from on board with the driver of John Elmsheimer as he comes through the corner. And let's go back a little bit further so we can show this one to you. There we are. John Elmsheimer gets tight, hits the wall, hits Grosser, both spin out. Grosser has had bad luck all of a sudden. There's the first impact, and there's going to be the second impact happening right now as we slow it down for you, and we show it to you on RaceSpotTV Ultra HD. And, well, John Elmsheimer, what a shame. He didn't really do anything. Well, he hit the wall. He got tight. But then at that point, he tried to just do what he's supposed to do. Grosser spun around. Elmsheimer spun around. This race will now go to time.
Yeah, certainly. And I think that was just Lucas Leveille. He's back onto pit lane, I think. I'm not sure why. He's just done another pit stop. Why is he keep coming into the pit lane, Will?
Please forgive me. Please.
Yeah, I think that's what he's trying to do, but Robert Grosser, he is out of this event, and although saying that, he's still currently sat in 10th position, so I'm going to presume he's going to score points. Correct me if I'm wrong, Will.
At this stage, yes, he will be, but don't forget you've got Elmsheimer, Stanley, and Diggs behind him in P number 11, 12, and 13. That will affect the point situation just a little bit. We have ourselves 6 minutes remaining. Ladies and gentlemen, don't forget, coming up in a few moments' time here on RaceSpotTV, we will have ourselves coverage of the Skip Barber 2K World Cup. Jake Sparrow will be joining me for coverage of that one as I do my little triple header. But Jake, where are we running? Because, of course, we didn't know until about an hour ago.
Oh, we're running at Mo Sport, so it's going to be a draft fest and a brilliant, brilliant race overall. Tom Ward in this race, and we remember the last time we came here, Tom Ward and lay bare. They had a war of words, Will.
They did indeed. So join us for that one in the Skip Barber 2K World Cup in just a few moments' time. Let's get some very quick words then from Robert Grosser. 5 minutes remaining in this event, and Robert, unfortunately, you don't make the end of the race. Involving 2 incidents, you're out. Talk us through it. Seems like Robert Grosser doesn't actually want to talk to us right now, Jack.
Yeah, maybe not. I think he's just probably cooling down a bit because he's just maybe lost his chance at a championship, unless Lucas Leveille has some bad luck in the coming rounds. I'm not sure.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah. So, we will be back, ladies and gentlemen, in a couple of moments' time. We'll give you a little bit of RaceSpotTV fan immersion. Not quite sure what went wrong there. But we are side by side then for the restart. 4 minutes worth of racing. That equates to about 10 laps. So those of you wondering why is that a timing up right now? There's 17 laps remaining. This race will go to time, not to distance. So, here we are then, Jack. Constantini brought away. If you're Lucas Leveille right now, do you go for it, or do you realise that your championship rival is out of the event?
See, if I was Lucas Leveille right now, I'd just be sitting there. I would be sitting there in clutches as Constantini takes the green flag. He is going to be away for the final 4 minutes of racing. Just clock starting to tick down now as we go to 3 minutes 55 seconds remaining. He's going to lead coming around turn 2. And it looks like everyone else is going to be through cleanly, but a 2-wide racing with Michael Gerlicher a bit further behind. Everyone else, very cleanly through turn 1. Not many cars left out on the circuit now.
There's not, but you can see Constantini has himself a good advantage right now over the field as we've got side by side. Lucas Leveille up into 3rd place. Marco Babanera then down into P number 4. Carson Bodway in 5th. Randy Shoemake in the 6th place. And then Michael Gerlicher in the 7th position. We're on board with Gerlicher right now, actually, as he scraps it out with Shoemake. Shoemake was so dominant early on in this event. Up in the top 3. It seems to be that these long stints well, I say these long stints, he came on pit road, of course, recently. The long stints didn't help him that well, but now he's got a chance to try and get himself back into the top 5. We really need to keep an eye on Shoemaker in these last few laps.
Yeah, we do, and Lucas Laville has managed to get his way back into second position already after the restart. It's only taken him 1 minute and 5 seconds, Will. That's brilliant by him, and he's now going to be trying to hunt down Michele Constantini, but we know Constantini's quick. He's got the fastest lap of the race, so I cannot see Lucas Laville catching him before the end of this race. 2 minutes and 40 seconds left to go here, and oh my word, it's hot and up. It is definitely getting very exciting at the front end of this field.
Ladies and gentlemen, we are going to literally have to just put our broadcast to one side as soon as we finish this race. But for the time being, we've got Robert Grossi here. Robert, how was your race?
It was great, as long as it lasted.
I say Robert Grosser, of course, involved in 2 incidents here today. But out front, you've got Michele Constantini, Lucas Laville. Robert, you have got your championship rival running in second place right now. Does that mean that you think the championship's slipping away from you?
Yeah, pretty much. I know that Lucas will miss the next round at Sonoma, which was actually my only hope to catch him with the 50 points lead that he has. With the race today, I need a lot of luck to be able to fight back in the championship.
Just from a Colts fan, we've got lots of luck over there. Lucas Laville currently in second place. He has closed up though, Jack, right to the rear of Michele Constantini. Lucas Laville looking as though he's going to go for the race win.
I think he is. He's definitely going to start pushing Michele Constantini. We'll know that Lucas Laville wants that win just to get an even bigger stronghold on the championship. Obviously knowing that he will miss the next round at Sonoma in 2 weeks' time. But Laville, he's been setting personal bests. He's been setting the best laps of anyone about the last 4 or 5 laps. He has been on it, and he is going like a freight train, Will, and he will keep going for the next minute. We have 3 laps remaining here at New Hampshire Motor Speedway. Can Lucas Laville get up into the lead? I think the chance of slipping away from him.
Yeah, indeed. So we've got ourselves about 49 seconds thereabouts. It depends when the start or finish line will be. Lucas Laville in second place. He may well just be waiting for one opportunity. Randy Shoemaker versus Carson Bodaway has not been able to do anything, but he goes down to the inside as they come through turn number 3 and 4. Cannot make the move. Can he get a run down in towards turn number 1 and 2? The answer is going to be no. Not this time. Michele Constantini will take the white flag next time by. He is about 1/10 of a second ahead of the driver of Lucas Laville. Here comes Shoemaker then, down to the inside of Carson Bodaway, looking for P number 4. He's not going to get it though. He stays where he is for the moment as the white flag now is going to be out here in what has become a time-limited race. Michele Constantini down the back straight away for what is now the final time versus Lucas Laville. Looks like Laville has absolutely nothing to give here. Out of corner number 4, Michele Constantini wins here at New Hampshire Motor Speedway. You got yourself Laville second place. You've got Petkin in the mix. Broadway, Shoemaker as well. We will get your final race results up in just 1 moment's time. But this has been, Jack, a fantastic race here at New Hampshire.
Yeah, it definitely has. We've had the championship turned on its head. That has to be the headline from this race. And we have seen some awesome, close pack, tight-knit racing. Some accidents, unfortunately, some mistakes from some drivers. But these guys, as Michele Constantini comes around to do his donuts on the straight, brilliant race here. We hit the 2-hour time limit, but we were not far off the 225 lap.
Yeah, indeed. So Michele Constantini does 220 laps here today. 5 laps short of the distance because we ran to time. But we've got ourselves then Michele Constantini winning out by 0.4 of a second over the driver of Lucas Laville. Hench Penkin in 3rd place, Carson Bodaway in 4th, Randy Shoemaker in 5th, Michael Gerlicke in 6th, Marco Babanero 7th, Luigi Griffini in 8th, Henry Bennett in 9th, and then Dale Stanley rounding out your top 10. We have got to leave you here, ladies and gentlemen. We will record some post-race interviews and put them online on the RaceSpotTV YouTube page. However, from Jack Stiles, I'm Will Vincent. We'll talk to you all in just literally 2 minutes time for the 2K World Cup. Goodbye.